Oh, wait, I see the problem now.
Yeah, yeah.
There's the
There
problem.
it is.
All right, looks like we're ready to get underway. Game number 3, folks. If you only just tuned in, you missed quite the mind-boggling game 2. But either way, so far, B looking on course to easily defend himself here and continue his streak as he's leading the series as it stands 2-0. But now it's DauT's chance to strike back. He's opening up his bag of goodies and he's whipping out one of the S-tier civs as he'll be on the Mongols.
Yeah, and DauT actually missing a little opportunity. He could have placed his TC next to gold, but I'm not sure if he didn't see it. But that could have definitely been really, really good for him. That is always a nice start. And he is going for quick stone. On the other side, B is going for food. So neither player seems to be wanting to go for dock. It just seems like a standard game. So that's something they opted for. And like I said, DauT is picking Mongols, and this is a game he should win, quote unquote, right? And if he doesn't, then this becomes really, really bad for him. Because if you lose with Mongols, you know, again, probably the best civ, you're down 0-3, and where do you go from there? It's very, very hard to recover. You need to win 4-3 from then on out, so that's going to be a rough one for him.
Most definitely. I mean, Mongols, you know, nothing is a free win per se, but if there was any civ that was as close to being a free win as possible, it would be this civ, right? Like, this civ rarely has a map where it doesn't feel like it has great options, whether it's aggressive early on or economical scaling. Usually it just trounces a lot of the other civs in the current meta. But we'll have to see what he can do on this map. As you said, because neither of them are going onto the water, this should be a little bit of a spicy one. I feel like, you know, this is maybe DauT just being kind of smart and attuned to it, because we've seen a lot of people try to go on the water up against England, and it feels like it never ends well on either Danube River or Mongolian Heights, as those Lombos are just so easily able to assassinate all of your fishing boats.
Yeah. There's a great match from N4C where Delhi just holds the middle like a Chad, continues fishing, no problem.
I think that was...
Longbows do nothing.
I believe that was between Kazfa and... I can't remember who his opponent was. It's the best of 7, right?
Right, the Chad English player, right.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but he just...
I mean, it was just
beautiful.
Come on. Was it...
it was just beautiful. I mean, the longbows were just stuck there. Delhi just kept on fishing the whole time, so...
Was it Strail Bora was his name? I can't...
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
that
it was actually, yeah.
And
All right, so landmark going up.
Oh, but it's a council hall. Who cares?
Yeah, so no heavy of the kings again. I guess you know, after the last one, he's like, actually, nah, I'll retire that one. So the last game that we saw, or the first game, sorry, where they played this exact matchup, except you know each player played the other civ. DauT played very passive English. He tried to kind of get that wheelbarrow build and just play passive with the farms. And B, so far, he seems to be rallying all the workers on the wood, which I'm assuming is going to be early aggression. Now, one thing to consider, if DauT wants to rush castle, his gold is in the front. And if his TC was next to his gold, that is fine, right? It's not a big deal. But his TC is far back, so this gold is very exposed. And the second gold is also in the front. So if B kind of recognizes this, and he's already moving forward to build a tower. So, oh no, he's building a wall, sorry.
Okay.
If he recognizes this and kind of says like, oh, okay, your both goals are here, so I'm going to put some pressure. This is going to be really good for B. Now, this is not necessarily a defensive wall, by the way. This is not like, oh, I don't want to fight you. This is probably a wall so that when Mongol player goes for horsemen, B can just go behind the wall and have a gate and kind of go past through the gate and back and forth and try to out-micro the horsemen. So it's a very good thing that English can do and something a lot of players make the most out of.
I think it's another thing that's definitely helped Delhi creep up as well, right? This concept like archers instead of spearmen, you just wall yourself in the middle of nowhere and essentially fire at your opponents as they try and attack you. It has become a powerful solution to the horsemen, as you were saying. And it looks like there's going to be an outpost dropped by DauT, so he wants to solidify some control of this central crossing, understandably so. Unless there's going to be a gate being built by B as well, just give him that access before he backs away. Might actually cost him the villager, but it looks like he should be healthy enough to move away. One
Oh no, B
interesting.
doesn't have wood.
Oh
He
wait,
can't
what?
build a longbow
Oh
because
my
these workers are
god.
gonna get the tower up.
Yep.
Oh, he's actually going for the wall on the bottom and the north.
Oh
Oh, never
wow.
mind.
Okay. Yeah. I was looking at the maps. I was like, hold on a sec. Shouldn't he have? He should have
Yeah, because
more in
I
his
was like,
bank than
where is
this.
his wood going? I mean, he only built like a couple of wooden walls and a gate.
It's the
But yeah,
deceitful nature of
he's
blue on the water, right? Like you don't quite see it, and then you realize, ah, yes, he's
yeah.
actually he's in the keeper's enclosed, my lord. Like he's got all three of the forts covered, and it looks like DauT is going to respond with outposts himself. It doesn't give him a way through, but it at least means that those slow-moving Lombo will think twice about running past these outposts for free.
So this is pretty funny because both players are essentially doing the same thing. They're both securing the the crossings, right? B is doing it with walls, and DauT is doing it with towers because he can't build walls. So I'm not sure what B's plan is. This is very interesting. Because when you wall up this early, you're kind of saying like, "Oh, I don't want to fight at all."
Hmm.
But he is mining 2 workers on gold, which I'm assuming will be for blacksmith upgrades. Maybe he's just walling off while he prepares his army. Because one of the more dangerous moments in this matchup is when like the early horses come for Mongols, because they can produce 2 at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's just trying to prevent that from all sides and just wants to say like, okay, I don't want any shenanigans, run-bys, and this is kind of just to make him like feel super, super safe. And he will just do perhaps a delayed push from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, knowing B, he is that type of player that likes to kind of like play you in the mind more than just in the game, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going to amass Lombos after showing like signs of like kind of defensiveness. And then his anticipation is that DauT will be greedy. And as a result, he'll catch DauT entirely off guard with surplus resources not being spent. It could work. And the cool thing is B does have a scout through on DauT's side. So he is keeping an eyeball on exactly what's happening. So he'll understand if he does get that sort of exploitative opportunity to go into his opponent's base very early on and end the game.
Yeah, so DauT is trying to throw down a dock, and his workers are... Oh, one villager goes down, getting sniped slowly. And DauT opted for the archer range defense, which is also very viable. And it's the only civ in the game that can actually defend with only archers, because you get that movement speed boost. So you can actually just rush on top of the longbows and just kind of start fighting them, where most other civs will get kited pretty easily. So you kind of need to add horsemen or something else to kind of accompany your archers.
Frustrating situation here is it looks like DauT will be able to get down that dock in the end. The Lombos were not able to stop it. He assassinated one of the villagers, but the problem now is that all of a sudden B's going to struggle to like control the straits. The good news, at least for him, and you can see what is being built by DauT, is that he doesn't have to worry about this light junk. He can actually snipe this out with the Lombos. Light junks have abysmal range, and these Lombos vastly exceed it.
Yeah, DauT now going for another dock on the north. Now that has to be for fishing. So I'm assuming he's gonna go for light junk into fishing. But I don't know. I feel like if you want to go for fishing specifically, you just do it from the start, right? Then you just delay the pushes with towers. But now there's going to be so many longbows, and obviously everything is walled off. So how is DauT going to prevent longbows just coming and just sniping the ships one by one?
Yeah, that's problematic. I mean, DauT, luckily for him, he does get that dock down without having his villagers assassinated. He will now construct the outpost, but as you said, it's just that superior range. You can just see the effect it can have. These light junks at a measly 4-tower range can't even get within kissing distance, so they're never going to be able to assassinate the Lombos. One good thing I guess DauT gets out of this at least is it's kind of a check at the border, shall we say. Like, you can't just freely walk across with these Lombos without being attacked by the light junks, but if B gets enough of them, it's unlikely he cares. Unless, of course, DauT is able to get to, like, boom ships, right, up in the castle. But as you can see, B is going to beat him to the punchline. Castle's almost ready for 3DB, which means that England will be ahead of Mongols heading into the Third Age.
Yeah, very interesting. He just went for super quick wall. He made a thing about 8 longbows to try to deny water as long as he could. And then went into straight castle. And I wonder what his plan is. He's going to go for King's Palace. Does he go into... Oh, he's going with a lot of workers. 15 workers. Is he going to go into, like, men-at-arms? Is he going to go into knights? Knights are very good against Mongols, by the way, because Mongols can't wall. So knight run-bys are just extremely, extremely hard to defend as Mongols. And if you do manage to get to this point of the game, on equal footing with Mongols. Mongols is actually not that bad to play against because, like I said, one huge weakness for them is just run-bys. And yes, they can build towers, but the more towers you build, the more resources you're spending on static defense. So we'll see what B decides to go for and what his response will be.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like B looked at that first game. He understood our questions about it. It's like, why was DauT, not being aggressive? And he's like, DauT, comrade, allow me to teach you how to play Castle Age England. This is what you do. A little bit of aggression early, wall yourself in, show some sort of feign of threat, shall we say, to actually attack your opponent, and then double down on the eco side.
Those towers are just farming the longbows.
Yeah, the range on them.
It's actually, I didn't expect they're going to be able to hit the longbows from that side.
It's 8 tower range, right? So like that one extra tower is quite surprisingly effective, especially considering B's often just kind of all walking in range of them, just trying to continuously attack the fishing boats, right? So it's kind of catching them off guard multiple times. I mean, if we look at the amount of military units killed, DauT has killed 6 of them so far, which is kind of... Does that sound low? I thought he actually lost more longbows than that by now.
Yeah,
it felt
I thought
like
he killed more.
I could have sworn I saw 6 DauT up top on his own. Maybe we're just imagining things. But I thought he lost at least 10 at this stage.
Yeah, all the same. Who knows? Maybe it's Anyway, we do see the +1 damage for longbows, and he seems to he's just gonna upgrade veteran longbows, and he's not making any more production B. So he's just getting the economy up, and I would assume he is just gonna mass longbows to try and snipe all the fishing ships. And if you're DauT, you can either go for knights here, you stop the archer production, you go for either knights, men-at-arms, and build siege. So he has 2 options there in order to counter these longbows. And the one really weak spot for DauT is actually he has no clue what the opponent's doing. Because he got walled off so early, he doesn't know if B has a 3rd TC, is B going for men-at-arms, is B going for knights, he has no clue.
And then when you look on the flip side, B has had this scout sitting in the back of his opponent's base the entire time. He just spotted out the lancers coming out. But this is the important detail. This is something that I feel like has kind of been a repetition throughout this series so far, is B has kind of just been ahead when it comes to scouting vision. If you think about every single one of the games we've watched so far, he is always keeping scouts on the edge of his opponent's base, seeing what's coming next. And I feel like DauT, although this one is more understandable, in general, he's kind of been a step behind in the scouting department compared to B.
Yeah, no, for sure. He definitely has more information, and having this is something we talked about at the start, like having scouting and more info just makes the game so much easier for you. Like if you are B, you saw stables and you saw blacksmiths, so you're like, okay, lancers and maybe archers, that's about it. I can prepare for that. And he's making spearmen, right? But on the other side, DauT has no clue if he's going to run into 30 spearmen now or 3rd TC or whatever else. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to play from B's point of view. And the lancers are trying to break through the wall. On both middle and north side. And B is just re-walling.
Yep, and he's got a few spearmen coming out as well to just poke them in the Tushki through the walls. It looks like DauT hasn't even noticed yet, so he might end up losing the Lancers at this rate, even if he gets the wall, which is not a good trade for him at all. One of them is already dead, and I can't believe he hasn't peeled them back as well. Meanwhile, in the north, they will manage to break through. Now, there's a decent amount of veteran longbowmen here, and they are running into the death. What are they doing? Oh, they really want the light junk.
That is a costly overextend, misclick, however you want to call it. We do see a war junk coming from DauT. And again, that is just going to be so hard for B to stop. This is what I was talking about. How do you kill these ships at this point? You need Springulds, you need some kind of siege, and just archers won't really do any damage against them.
Sorry, I was just noticing an interesting little kind of utilization of palings there from by B. He actually ended up stunning the lancers when they were on top of the palings, which allowed the spearmen to move in. Really weird mechanic still. I feel like a lot of players don't necessarily use palings as much as they could because of how funky it is. But no, let's get to the bigger point. Like you were saying, with this war junk now in play, it feels very difficult for B to do anything in Castle, right? Like, it almost feels like once junks come into play, if you can't be on the water yourself, how are you actually really getting rid of these? Because you can see the longbows are going to try and fire, but they're doing barely any damage, and they have bigger issues to address as the Lancers charging on top of them, and will butcher every single one last them as they try to run away.
Yeah, I mean, they have 6 armor and the 900 health is just so much. And they one-shot infantry, right? So even if you get a shot off, you know, you lose an infantry every time you get a shot off. So,
yeah.
You know how I said at the start that B played super aggressive against Hera? Like, if you remember, if you watch those games, he was just tower rushing every game, feudal all-inning every game, because Hera played, you know, kind of rushing into castle. And this game, we see the opposite. B is playing very much with the walls, very much. He's trying to push the games into the late game. And you can see with the stone walls and the crossing, he wants to reach the late game. He doesn't want to finish the game. He's not even attempting. And in a way, he's giving up the water as well. He's just like, no, you take the water. I'll just continue expanding. I'll just continue re-walling. And DauT needs to either you know, take a step back and just go Imperial and just fight with age difference, or super commit to what he's doing right now and just kind of go for it. Just break one side. Like, for example, he broke the top. Just make sure he never re-walls it and just go full-on aggression. And B is currently just in a super defensive spot where he's kind of saying it clearly what he wants to do and what his plan is.
Yeah, I think you classified it perfectly for me. Like, I'd refer to it as you either get Sleepy B or Rapido B. And I think it comes back to what you were saying at the start of the series, right? This whole concept of, like, StarCraft players being a little bit more locked in with what they want to do. And I think we're seeing that from B. Like, when he doubles down on these early aggressive strats, he looks phenomenal. But if he chooses this greedy format and it's the wrong call, it just feels like it's not even in his mindset, how do I adjust? It's just continue what you're doing, weather the storm, and hopefully when we come out the other side, we would have achieved our objectives.
Yeah, so it seemed like his plan is like, oh, I'll get some longbows, deny some ships. But even after killing some, you know, he didn't say like, okay, I'm going to continue. I'm actually going to get a ram and destroy a dock. He just said like, no, that's what I planned. You know, I go castle now and that's about it. So it's going to be kind of on DauT to figure out what he wants to do now. We do see DauT is taking the Relic in the middle north.
B. Really wants those fishing boats, willing to sacrifice a bunch of his poor little longbow before it. The only good news is DauT is not cycling this war junk, or it would have been double the damage.
Yeah, he still has so much fishing, though. Like, he's producing fishing ships out of 2 docks. Not constantly, but that is 10 fishing boats. And that is a lot of food economy for the Mongols.
Speaking of food economy, B might lose some of his. Able to shift away quickly. We'll find a few of his villagers butchered around the back from DauT's knights riding in. But at least gets most of them to safety, and we'll force the lancers away, stabbing 1 or 2 of them down with the spears on the way out. I say that. B? Okay, DauT's like, screw it. If I'm going to lose him, I'm going to punish you for not pulling back all your villagers. Even makes it out with a few of the lancers still alive.
Picks off quite a few workers. Oh, Khan's going to go down for sure. Yep. And that is a big loss. I feel like DauT is not really... Oh, no, he has men-at-arms. So he's transitioning to men-at-arms. And he's getting the siege engineering improved version, so he can go for probably mangonels. And we also see something that you don't ever see is second TC from Mongols.
Yeah.
So again, this is one of those things that I mentioned earlier. This is DauT saying like, oh, you want to play the late game? That's fine. I'll throw down a second TC. And in DauT's shoes, it's not necessarily, you know, a bad call even, right? He has the fishing economy. He has the same amount of TCs as his opponent. He has that step that will give him so much extra gold. And he's taking the relics. So in his eyes, he is in a better position right now because B is just giving him all the space he needs. He's just like, no, just take everything. It's fine. I'll just wait here. I don't mind it. And DauT is putting aggression and making B be passive while he's also kind of booming at the same time.
Yeah, you can see the DauT is prepping the Mangonel army to move in. Even getting outposts down, so they'll be able to move in and out very quickly. And this is reached the point where B has to respond. He's got to start taking some ground away. Or DauT, well, as you said, just start to strip mine the map, right? Like, he needs gold for his composition. Everything about it screams, we like gold. And at the same time, if he takes it away from B side, if he's able to actually expand and start taking not only these relics, but also gold deposits eventually, all of a sudden, B doesn't actually have favorable terms. He doesn't have flexibility. He'll be forced to just mainly build Lombos and Spearmen, and that's it. And while we have seen England players playing that late game situation where they only use that in their composition, it feels like in this current meta, if you can't afford siege weapons, you can't win the game.
Yeah, and he's just building, like you said, he's just building the towers, just taking this side of the map. And luckily for B, this side has no golds on it, right?
Yes.
There's a large stone, but all the golds are on the bottom side. So that's I guess, one good thing for B, but the two wood lines are there. And if those are denied, you can't really produce, you know, the siege, and you can't really produce too much. So we'll see if DauT decides to be super aggressive with this, or he just kind of wants to hold this side and chill. But he seems to be going for the farms.
No, he don't look like he's got any chill. He's moving in now. 4 mangonels, and the siege workshops made the worst place that B could have built them. Hasn't really got too many sprinkles out, only 3 so far. The man-at-arms can quickly burn these down. The mangonels haven't got involved in the mixer, but they will now move up, and B needs to be careful. He has to pull back before the rocks come flying. And we'll do it just in time. Only losing 1-2 spearmen. It baits out his sprinkles. No, big mistake made. B... He tried to just counterattack into the mangonels, and it cost him the entire Sprinkle division, and all of a sudden, this fight could just go from bad to worse. The mangonels ready to plow into the spear line. We'll target them out, damage being dished onto him. Still enough for him to chase in. He really needs this trade, but he's hesitant to commit, and it means that he might just end up losing a lot of his army. Man-at-arms still standing there for DauT, standing strong. Villagers rushing out now just to deal with the mangonels. And although you might get through them, you have to start to question what kind of damage has been done here, because this fight is definitely a good trade for DauT.
Yeah, there was only like 10-15 men-at-arms, and that was pretty much all the melee units, infantry for B. He loses a siege workshop and 4 Springles, which it took a while to build, but actually didn't kill a single mangonel there. I don't think they even did one shot, and they just got completely obliterated.
I think it was a weird one as well. Like, it looked like he should have been in range, but essentially, like B was like, no, I'm not even going to take the first shot. Understandably, like, he wasn't offered... like DauT, sorry, said I wasn't going to take the first shot because he wasn't even really offered a good shot, right? It was almost like B was playing too defensive with the spears, so he couldn't even bait DauT into range with his siege weapons.
Yeah, manages to clean him up, though. If you look at the worker count, B is at 10, or 12, sorry. But again, you know, Mongol player has the step, which is a huge gold boost for him. So it's way more even, or maybe even Mongol players ahead. He has 3 relics as well, and a sacred side. So, and fishing boats, let's not forget about those. So he, economically, I would say DauT is still doing better in the long term. And DauT should maybe try to just amass the army, like not maybe worry about doing these small pushes, but just kind of do one big push, because Mongol can just outproduce the English player in terms of siege, right?
Yeah.
Even if you have siege workshops, well, infantry can build it much much quicker. So that's something that DauT can, yes, that's something that DauT can try to, you know, exploit and use as much as he possibly can.
Yeah, maybe even a play could be, like, instead of just trying to build counter siege in terms of sprinkles, maybe just build counter siege in terms of, like, a stable unit, right? Like, we've seen scouts have always been one of those classic solutions dealing with siege weapons, especially considering now that the torch damage got buffed, right? So you can actually burn through these mangonels even quicker. But for the moment, he's still rebuilding those sprinkled armies. He hasn't doubled down on an extra siege workshop. Instead, he's just going to pivot across to more archery ranges at the back of his base and try to amass more range units. Keep going down in the meantime from B. Not enough man-at-arms here to really stop him, but the man-at-arms have found the Springles again. They are struggling to stay on top. The Yan movement speed is going to run out soon. The Springles might just live this time around, as 3DB will wheel them all the way back to the back of his base, where they should be safe. I say that. There's no villagers repairing them. But they could have been saved. Oh, okay. I just...
Yeah, one goes... I mean, these Springles are... You know, they are supposed to counter mangonels, but they're just kind of getting... just run down by the man-at-arms. Now there's a keep, which DauT is going to have very hard time dealing with. And you have 2 options as DauT. You either relocate and attack completely other side of the map, or you just give up on this. Technically, you can attack with mangonels into keep, but it's just not going to be a pretty sight, and it's just a hard position to attack into. And P actually made stone walls and stone wall towers, so he is just like, no, whether you like it or not, we're going in Imperial. I don't care.
Also,
I don't care what you say, but we're doing it.
Also, he has network of citadels about to be researched, about to complete. So he's going to be in a comfortable situation to take all these fights. And DauT is about to leave himself a little bit exposed. You can see he's actually beginning the tech up now. So he's going up into the Imperial. White Stupa currently being built. But B, if he continues, this might be the perfect time to punish DauT, and he might not even know it yet. Because I don't think he's had vision for a while. That scout did get assassinated a while back, so B has been playing blind for the last several minutes.
Yeah, DauT is going for Imperial, and that keep, while it's great right now, if, 2 Bombards come out, is going to be very, very hard to prevent that. And Bombards will allow that slow push, because English right now has no way of dealing with the outposts. And while, they don't do a lot of damage, if he actually builds like 5-6 more here, it's kind of like a point where he can retreat and just push again from. So, English... Like I said, nowhere near Imperial. He has no gold. He needs way, way, way more gold in order to actually get there. And slowly but surely, English gold is mining out. I say he only has 10k left, but once those 10ks are done, if you're not in Imperial, the farms will not give you gold and you will be completely out.
Yeah, and now you're in an awkward situation because B isn't attacking. He's just hoarding. And that means that he's not actually punishing DauT when he's weak. DauT is still holding a pretty aggressive position outside of B's base, and if B should ever go for that tech up, it's going to leave him vulnerable instantly to an assault from DauT.
Yeah, that's the problem when opponent reaches Imperial. You either have to instantly go Imperial, or you have to go and produce army. And B is, kind of staying back and not going for Imperial. So this is good for DauT. Like, DauT is not looking to push right now. He's age up, and he doesn't mind sitting here. And if you were DauT right now, and if B reaches Imperial, that's the moment you want to instantly go. Because, you have the upgrade lead, you have the army lead, and the tech lead. And B is slowly trying to push out. I would imagine DauT will be going for maybe pure Bombard or some Spring Ults as well to destroy B's siege.
Bombard should do it for the moment. We're on the first one out. Mangonel's a little bit too far forward, but the Springald line can easily punish this. B is shifting it across now. DauT will try and pack it up and roll it away, but B not reacting quick enough. Maybe would have had a shot there onto the Springald, onto the Bombards and Springalds, but misses his opportunity. He's still starting to gain some ground. These outposts have been structured and laid quite well by DauT, but now the Spearmen have had enough. They're going to move out. Springal's sniping out the Mangonels. Mangonel's not even outpacked yet right now. Berkshire Palace looking to be dropped offensively by B at the crossing to try and protect him and pad him on the north here. And it looks like he will get away with this because DauT is just forfeiting ground.
Yeah, and this Berkshire Palace will be very, very good for him right now. Khan goes down to a bunch of villagers.
Yeah.
And this palace will actually be able to hit the water. So no more water for DauT. And one thing that DauT could have done, by the way, is a lot of people don't know because you don't see Mongols in Imperial on hybrid maps, but they can also build Bao Chans, or Bao Chads as I like to call them. And if you actually had 1 or 2 right now, he would be able to hold this position super, super easily.
Sure, I think that this is the most absurd unit on the water. It's just a lot of people don't realize it because, well, China's not popular right now, and Mongols, as you say, don't tend to, float into Imperial on these hybrid maps, but Bao Chuans really could change this game, considering that there's nothing that counters them, right? Because, well, Mangonels aren't going to burst through them, Springals aren't going to burst through them. Everything would just die in the blink of an eye because they have so many cannons on each side, but instead, not opting for that. And it means that Freddy B is finally going to be able to push DauT off his side of the map. We'll shift over to decap the Sacred Site. It has been ticking for a few minutes, so he doesn't want to allow DauT to just casually get a Sacred Site victory. And he most definitely will not be able to in this game.
Yeah, I would say, if you are, like I said, if you're a Mongol player, I am not liking this position at all, right? I'm playing the good Civ, and I've reached Imperial, and I haven't managed to finish the game, and the opponent is purposely trying to get an Imperial, right? This wasn't like they were both trying to play and oh god, those middle shots. Oh my god, I'll see it. Oh my god.
Damage done. They're going to back up for the moment. They can wheel out another round of shots onto these man-at-arms, and that's why he goes for the Delta split. And all of a sudden, DauT realizes just how bad it's about to get. Tries to peel away, shifts deeper, looking towards the eco lines instead, but that means Mangonels can chase and snipe out. Yam won't last forever. B Able to hold the choke point now. Will stop reinforcements from flooding in, but he needs to address these 22 man-at-arms in the back of his base. He'll shift across there, meanwhile keeping up pressure in the north and ensuring with these walls going down that DauT can't find his way back onto B side of the map.
Yeah, and he gets completely cleaned up. Some men-at-arms move towards the gold, but those towers are actually upgraded. And, you know, he's going to cause some trouble, but B can just send a couple of units there and defend that. And he just lost almost all of his men-at-arms. Luckily, he's managed to print another 43 on the middle. But B, like I said, he wanted to do this, right? It was clear from the feudal when he started walling off. Or actually, yeah, from the feudal when he started walling off. And now he's in a position where... Wait a minute. B never capped the sacred site. Do we know the timer on that?
No, because Relic doesn't want to give us those simple tools. I think it's been like 4 or 5 minutes though, right? Like it must have been.
He was on the sacred side, and then
he moved off it. Yeah, because I think he got distracted by the center, right? Like he's like, oh crap, I need to respond to that.
Oh, imagine if he actually loses to this. But he's gonna hear that bing bing sacred side victory. You know, he's probably gonna notice. Right?
I mean, you say that. I mean, I know I'm not the best example of high-level player, but I've had games where it's very easy to just forget.
Okay, there we go. He sent 2 villagers. Okay.
Okay, thank God for that. And this siege army, this anti-siege army rather from DauT, is starting to amass. The Imperial just being built on the field absurdly quickly. So it means that B does have to be careful, but B has a very clear and easy play here. If he just stonewall layers moving forward, his Mangonels can fire on the man-at-arms, and the Springles cannot do anything because, of course, Springles cannot shoot through stone walls.
Right, and let's not forget the 50% attack speed on the siege. So...
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, so basically, Mongols can upgrade their siege. Like if you click the siege workshop, you can see the improved upgrades. So they can upgrade their range on springles and stuff like that. But they're very expensive. They cost like 1,000 stone to upgrade or something like that. 500. Some cost a little bit more, some a little less. And DauT still hasn't upgraded that, and you kind of need that. So the English have the attack speed, but then with Mongols you have that little extra range, so you can still fight it. Now, one thing I could say for sure, without asking out of these players, is B has way more experience at this point in the game. Because like I said, this is the B that I know, and he loves playing games like these. And he's very patient. He's gonna play as long as he wants to. He's gonna play for 3 hours if he wants to, and he's just gonna slow push. DauT, on the other hand, I don't know how much experience he's had in games like these, and how well he knows each of the matchups, and, you know, the attack speed difference between the range difference and so on. So we'll see what he manages to do against B.
Well, looks like B, despite the fact he likes to cruise, he's looking to plow forward here as he'll move out with the Longbow army. Spears as well, juiced up in elite form, ready to hold back the man-at-arms. The Longbows will dish out a lot of damage. Siege army already gone in favor of B, as he has 1 or 2 Springles left. There are bombards to the sides though for DauT, and that means that B is going to back away. For some reason, 18 villagers made their way up to the front, and they won't be here anymore.
I just noticed that as well.
In fairness, they have a bow, okay? they can defend themselves.
I thought he was gonna throw down a keep, but then I saw he has 0 stone, so I was like, oh, that's a misclick.
Hey, mate, nah, this is just Stalingrad style holding, right? Just arm the peasantry, give them bows, send them on their way. And it looks like they're going to shift on the stone now, so next time that'll be fixed. In the meantime, B is keeping those walls to the south up. He could actually just rush out and kill this bombard. Kind of surprised he didn't go for that play. But I guess he's worried about the outpost and the fact there are man-at-arms nearby.
So B is about to run out of gold. He has farms, yes, but those farms cannot, you know, maintain a constant siege production. So he actually needs either more farms or he needs to start trading. He's building a lot of siege workshops, but he can do that right now. But oh my god, how many siege workshops does he have? He has 5 right now.
Wait, where's he? Oh my god, yeah, we're right up here. And then, you know, on top of that, he's draining his resources dry because he's going for the elite army tactics, right? He's getting these university upgrades, which are very pricey. So as you said, gold's going to become a limitation for him, but not for DauT. You can see DauT shifted across to a new gold vein, and then after that, he still has a fallback on the other side of the map that's 8,000, or to be more accurate, 12,000 gold because you're the Mongol player of the step readout.
Yeah, so he still has quite a lot to go through. And another thing is, if trading starts happening, the Mongols have an advantage because they also get food and wood from the trades. And again, B, just throwing down another keep on the bottom side. And I think his army will honestly be pure siege. And I think he's going to look to throw away these spears and whatever else he has. Because at this point, he has so many siege units that I think he's going to try to do pure siege.
Well, you say that, it seems like his Lombos are doing a pretty good job of sieging, slowly killing off these racks. He upgraded them with fire arrows as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays towards the walls still, right? Because you have to remember that when the Longbowmen are standing on these walls, they go up to 9 tile range. So, pretty beefy in terms of the reach on these units.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy for him. Springles on the bottom, just farming some men-at-arms.
Longbows in the middle farming a bunch of men-at-arms as well, as they seem to just run under the arc of these Longbows. Spiral's moving in now, looking to clean up the bombards before they can actually break through, and the walls are going to be rebuilt, so 3DB quick on the clutch to ensure that DauT cannot break through here, and all of a sudden it just feels like DauT is throwing away man-at-arms. They run back and forth being peppered with arrows.
Actually crazy how much damage longbows do to men-at-arms with the upgrades. Like, it goes from, oh, I'm doing no damage to, actually, I'm just killing all your men-at-arms.
Well, it's 6 damage getting through, right? Because you have 8 range resistance, he's hit for 14. Then it's the attack speed buff as well. It is pretty ludicrous.
Yeah, it gets actually quite decent. It goes from, like I said, not doing any damage to being really good.
Yeah, if anyone was wondering why you don't really see crossbowmen too often for England in the late game, this is why. I mean, you still get the range benefits. You won't kill man-at-arms as quickly as crossbows, but you don't have to get as close either. And all of a sudden, these mangonels showing up by B means that you can't keep pushing in the north here. DauT really kind of running out of clear options across. As we said, like, the resource slog should leave him quite healthy, but he's got to be frustrated that he's investing so much and getting so little in return each push.
Yeah, and I think the south side, B is pushing some spearmen, probably trying to just deny the towers. But yeah, I mean, look at this army. There's just 8 springals and 5 mangonels, and he's just gonna slowly siege. The funny thing is, B isn't even making bombards, which just says, like, I don't want to push. I just want to, you know, stay here and slowly poke. Because if he wanted to push, he would build a couple of bombards and just go for it, but he's just playing it super slow.
Well, he just keeps baiting DauT in. He's just teasing him. You saw the bombard move there. They shifted in. Spirals instantly sniped one out. It just feels like B is goading DauT every turn. He's like, he understands that the Mongol player kind of wants to end this game now. The England player, however, with infinite gold, the longer this goes on, really just wants to cruise. But he's done cruising. He's going to move out. Double outpost drop. Mangonel's moving in. The damage coming out. The man-at-arms are gone! So many low, and the Longbows will clean them up so quickly. Spreals are going to be lost, 1 or 2 of them at least. Able to back away with the rest, and that damage done is not going to be repaired. Most of the man-at-arms army is gone, and all of a sudden, B has a golden opportunity to start pushing out into Mongol territory.
Yeah, he just cleaned up his whole infantry. DauT is rebuilding, but that was a lot of damage taken from him.
Yep, and he throws them away, and the end he's like, screw it, they're worthless. Didn't want them anyway. And it means that any sort of foothold you're trying to establish at the crossing is going to start to be lost. In the meantime, there's going to be probing troops coming from the south, just checking on what the progress is. And it looks like DauT is hard now pivoting into elite archers, but you have to question if this is the right move to make up against Longbows when you know that B has the ranged advantage in this battle.
Yeah, and DauT, by the way, still has no upgrades on his siege, which is... I'm assuming he forgot them, but you cannot fight this army without the extra range, the extra movement speed, and the extra HP on your siege units. So that is something that you know, that is a big strength of Mongols in the late game. And I'm not even sure... Okay, he did get the blacksmith stone upgrade, so that's good. You know, giving the extra HP to the cavalry and all the other ones to go in there. But I think he just forgot about the siege ones.
And now he's got a big problem coming because B has identified this is the go time. He actually finally started constructing bombards. He has a decent composition of Sprinals and Mangonels already, enough for Longbows to keep his opponent at bay, and now the bombards are just meant to be the cherry on top that really just cruise through to DauT's lines. These Mangonels might spell trouble for DauT. He needs to be careful. The splendid move in actually might backfire for him. The attack rate on these Mangonels, he did get the reduced reload time as well, so they fire off pretty fast. Onto the archers, clustered up, lots of damage being done. Man-at-arms sticking on top of them, but the Mangonels refuse to move. They're finally going to back up now. Decent chunk of them will get out. Springle's already rolling through to the other side of the gate. It means they're going to lose some of the siege weapons, but a lot of dead red corpses on the ground to accompany the blue.
Uh-oh, he's stuck.
Oh no!
He's actually stuck in his own
This is
wall.
Border Patrol. Please show your passport before passing through. Oh, you don't have it? Denied!
Oh, God. And if you look
That's
at the
savage.
resources right
Oh
now,
my
DauT is out. Like, DauT has gold, and then B has 11,000 food and no gold.
Yep.
So, B is trading, by the way. He just made, he just made 4 markets around that trade post, and he's gonna start trading in order to get more of that gold. And DauT, he's still mining. He still has time, but that's something you should start considering very, very soon.
And B is already taking opportunities here. He sees all the attention drawn north, and you can see the Senate, he started to establish outposts that are not being denied or torn down straight away. DauT is in a frustrating situation. He really can't afford to forfeit that footing on the north side, or he exposes his TC and also that vital gold vein that he's now tapping at the back of his base. So really awkward dance that DauT now has to ensue in, and he doesn't have the mobility to respond on both fronts, right? Because if you look at his whole army, yes, they're yammed up, but they are all infantry-based and siege units. So they can't quickly flank or react to an attack absolutely elsewhere. Not that they need to, because B, he's going to force the fight here. Mangonel line, Bombard line, Spril line, all of it just juiced up, ready to fight. Mangonel's shots coming out. They're almost dead by the time they actually reach the siege line. And now the Lombos can clean up those that make it through. He'll snipe out 1 or 2 of these Mangonels, but the body count is going to be high as his front line is going to be cleaned up. The Bombards are still standing their ground for the moment. Mangonel now moving in from DauT. Not really going to be very effective against Spril, though. Instead, they'll just turn around and counter-siege him out. And DauT's army is all but spent again.
Yeah, that was a terrible, terrible trade. I mean, that was the 3rd trade where B just completely mopped up his army. Except this time, DauT is out of resources. He can produce... The thing is, DauT can still produce a lot of siege, but... I don't know if he's given up on siege, but there's just, basically no siege going on. He's just producing mass infantry right now. But that's just not gonna work.
I think he was going to switch. Look at the stable division he built and then seemingly never really used. It's almost like he wanted to play Lancers, but he needed the siege to at least break the walls. But the fact that B denied him every turn means he didn't feel comfortable going Lancers. So he's just stuck with this static formation that gets picked apart like cannon fodder by the siege weapons of B. And you can see now with the front military district being picked apart, look how slow he recuperates his losses. Like, DauT, this army is so tiny right now. It just feels like there's nothing left in this game. And DauT agrees with us. B refuses to give over any games as it's going to be 3 in a row now. And now DauT 1 game away from elimination.
Yeah, and this is, like I said earlier, this is the game where if you lose with Mongols, it's not looking good for the rest of your best of 7, especially in this kind of style, right? Like the opponent forced you to play the late game, and then you kind of just lost because you had way less experience in it. With a Civ that is probably the best Civ in the game, that is Mongols, and going into the 4th game, mentally, if you're DauT, you're probably not in the good spot, right? And I'm not sure what the matchup or the map actually is for the next one, but this is the one where you kind of feel like you needed to win in order to win the rest of your best of